I hate doing this. It's so embarrassing. Okay, let's try again. Hi, Lovebags. Welcome back to the channel. Today I bring you
Jacob.
My arch nemesis.
Yes. Slash ex-roommate.
Slash ex-roommate.
We ended on bad terms.
Slash college friend. Slash co-star.
Co-star, yes.
Yeah. Jacob, tell us about your graphic design history and what qualifies you for this video.
Yeah, okay. I'm a graphic designer. I graduated last year, but before that I worked on campus at the print shop, and then I had a internship at a marketing firm, and now I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, and motion designer for a year and a half.
Okay, great. I think that I'm gonna bleep out the company you work for.
Okay, that's fine.
For your personal safety.
Sure, okay.
Not that any crazies are gonna watch this.
And now I work as a graphic designer for a skincare company.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Maybe we should have done that after we said what the video is, but I'll just, we can rearrange. Yeah. Today, Jacob and I are going to be looking at the Penguin Clothbound Classics covers and ranking them from worst to best based on our mutual combined qualifications of graphic designer and person who reads books.
Yeah. See, I don't read the books. So.
Right. So, for hopefully, I'll be able to clarify why something is on the cover.
Yeah.
Although for a lot of them, I also haven't read them.
Okay, that's because some of them I was like, I know why this is here, and for some I was like...
Some of them I hadn't even heard of, I'm gonna be honest.
Most of them I didn't. I, in full transparency, I ranked them without knowing what the book was because my phone screen was so small.
That's a very fair way to do it, though. Like, it's a very no judgment, no bias.
It's just based on
just
the cover.
Aesthetic. We're purely judging the book by the cover in this video, and I think that's really beautiful.
Yes, it's poetic.
Yeah. It's also kind of, I think, a weird assortment of books. A lot of the
They're
books
just
that
classics,
I
right?
would have expected to be on there were not on there.
And
a lot of the books that...
Don't
look at my list. For clarification, we have both made ranking lists, and now we're going to go through them together.
Yes.
Going into this, I thought that we were gonna have similar lists, but I just saw your, the first, two on your list, and I feel like we're gonna have really different lists.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, and then also, just for whatever reason, on the tier list website, some of the books look different than they do on, the Penguin website, so I don't know which ones are official.
Real.
Yeah, but...
We'll figure it out. Well, we actually won't.
No, I did not look into it further.
It actually doesn't matter. So
Yeah. Typically the only difference was the colors. And
yeah.
Sometimes the colors made a big difference, but sometimes they really didn't matter.
Yeah. And before we start, we're going to start in a second. I might have to move this stuff around in the video. It's a long intro.
Fine.
But to start, I brought a book of this collection with us so that we can look at it. So I really like the clothbound idea. I do, because it's it has all the sophistication of a hardcover, but it doesn't have a dust jacket. Mm-hmm. And those are so annoying, and they get dirty and they fall apart.
They get dusty.
They get dusty, exactly. Yeah. So it's you have all the aesthetics of it, but then you don't actually have to keep the dust jacket nice, because it's just on the book. Nice. But I do think that it kind of holds dirt a little. Well, I don't know if you can see that very well. It holds a little bit of dirt, which is unfortunate. I feel like you could clean it. I would be cautious. Right.
It's cloth.
You could just put it in the washing machine. Dishwasher. Stand straight up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the editions are very special, is the thing about these. Is that, the price is kind of high. Well, in this economy, no, they're not.
All the prices are high.
But this was probably $25. I got this when I had a real job.
Yeah, okay.
And it's the end pages are just a solid color. There is one of these, but it frayed pretty heavily.
Did you just lose your place in the book?
Just I think it's just kind of normal. It has an introduction, but I don't know that it's exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And it has some appendices, but I don't know that they're exclusive,
right.
you know? And a lot of these books are just, like, so old that they'll be in the public domain.
I'm trying to see if this is screen print or just, like, vinyl, and I think it is screen print. This feels like it's paint, which is good, because vinyl will chip away.
Okay,
and, like, bubble. So that's nice.
What does that, like, is that a nicer...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nicer. Because vinyl is cheaper. It's easier to do. And they both look nice, but vinyl doesn't hold up over time. And this, to me, it feels like paint. Like, vinyl, you could kind of get your finger under it, and it would go away over time. A lot of, like, you know those places that do, like, the shirt presses? Like, custom shirts? Those are vinyl, because they're really easy to do. Yeah. But this feels like a nice quality. So
yeah, I think the covers are nice quality, and I think that the designs, I'm pretty sure, are all like a single designer does all of them, and maybe that's why
they got bored on some of them.
Maybe that's why the selection is kind of weird, because maybe it's like books that she likes, or just like ones that she wants to do. Yeah, so I feel like that might.
You know, it would have been good if we put this in the background instead of the salt.
Oh, we can go put it back there. Yeah.
No, put this way. This towards the vine.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Is that good?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, you can really see it really well. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, yes.
Is it still recording? Yes. Okay, 8 minutes.
Great. My last place pick is... That's an interesting noise that you made. I'm gonna zoom in. Mansfield Park. Oh wait, we can put it in between us. Like when you edit it?
Me? Oh, yeah.
Like, when we...
I thought you meant like right now I should hold up my computer. Yeah, in editing we can put it between us to symbolize the division between us.
Exactly, yes. The difference in opinions. Anyways, my last place pick is Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I think the colors are really bad together. They might look better printed, because I kind of noticed when we were looking at Paradise Lost. Actually, I think the colors probably look worse printed. Like less vibrant than you can get digitally, and they'll fade over time. But like the contrast is bad. It's got this weird thing where it's like kind of symmetric and then it's not, because like there's these two what are they, chains?
Yeah. That
are like symmetric, and then on the left hand side it's different than the right hand side, and then the middle knot just like makes this weird shape.
Yeah.
And then like up in the top by the name of it, there's just this one that comes down, and I think if I had to guess, these colors were made by an illustrator who doesn't do a lot of design, because many of them have the same problem, which I might get into later, and one that is really bad with, where the names of the books and the authors get so close to the illustrations, and it's so tight, and that's like, I mean, maybe it's just me because I do graphic design, but it's like a big no-no. Like, you need breathing room around that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I see what you mean with the top left. For us, it'll be flipped.
Well, we're also flipped, so maybe it'll be normal.
Maybe it'll be normal. Actually, it'll be normal.
Okay, good to know.
The chain comes really close to the M.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see it.
I also like. I think the main thing is the color, and also just like it's kind of boring and maybe just ugly. I don't know if that's rude to say.
The cake. My last place pick was Around the World in 80 Days.
That one was pretty low for me too, I think.
Yeah, I just like, it's just one that like personally irks me, and I don't have quite such a sophisticated take on it.
That's fine.
I just like, I think that I like the idea. I really like the concept of like all the stamps from
the passport stamps.
Yeah, the passport stamps. I just think it looks a little bit messy, but then also like a little bit too neat. Like if they were all overlapping like these two do.
Yeah.
Or if
see, I didn't notice this because it was so small, but that is.
Yeah, because like this one overlaps. But then none of the other ones do. Japan and
they're
Shanghai
all three.
and Japan.
Oh no, 2 Japans and 1 Shanghai. Yeah.
Yeah, also why do we have 2 Japans?
She went to Japan twice.
Yeah, I just think that it looks a little bit messy. I feel like the blue is not really doing anything for me. I get that it's like the world, but I feel like that's a
So
pretty like
true.
surface level like color choice.
Yeah.
I just don't really like it.
And here's another like real nitpicky thing. The compass rose just being like so close to the edge of the frame, but then it's like barely not.
Yeah, it's like almost this is the edge.
And it's so you can read the N and the S, but like you could just
definitely
take that out and we'd still know what it is.
Yeah, and like we've seen a compass rose before, so if the N and the S were cut off a little bit, like we would be able to fill it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't love all the designs on the passport stamps. I think they're a little bit like on the boring side. A lot of them are just like the place.
Paris looks like a bunny.
Yeah.
Is that the Arc de Triomphe?
It's the Notre Dame.
Oh. Should have just done the Eiffel Tower.
Right. I guess this one says departed, so maybe it's like you enter and then you depart.
Still weird.
But it's weird that both of them are on.
And
when,
so
like,
close to each
everybody
other.
else has only one stamp. Egypt is kind of cute.
Yeah, he's just fine.
Alright, you slid. Yeah, I just personally, like, I just don't like it. I don't think that it looks
That's
good.
valid, that's valid.
Next.
Alright, my number... Wait, how many is there? 106?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Just do 2.
My second worst.
We'll count up.
Orlando by Virginia Woolf.
Yeah, this one is pretty low for me too.
I have to say, looking at it really small, didn't know what it was. Looking at it big, don't know what it is. Are those arrows?
I have a guess, and I don't want to sound really stupid.
Okay.
But I have a guess
Uh-huh.
that they are chromosomes. Because the big thing in Orlando, I just read this book, so
Okay.
like I don't remember
Yeah.
it. The big thing in Orlando is that he becomes a woman halfway through,
Okay.
just like magically, just like wakes
Okay.
up. They're like Orlando is a woman now, and just like is a woman for the rest of the book. So,
Okay.
so I think they might be chromosomes, and I always thought that chromosomes were the X,
That's DNA.
but I guess you do have DNA is the double helix.
Oh. Maybe we're not STEM
Maybe
majors.
we're not the people to
Maybe
talk
not.
about biology.
But also going back to what I said earlier, if you look at Orlando, that's nice. If you look at Virginia Woolf, these 2 little leggies are getting her both sides, and these 2 little chromosomes are touching her both ways, and it's bad. And the colors, I think they could work, and I think I'd probably say they do work on some other books. But there's also like all this like detritus in the background that I don't think adds anything except visual confusion.
Yeah, I don't, this one's also on my bottom tier, so, but my second one is kind of for the same reasons as Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. Just a little bit, and as I'm looking at it, I don't even dislike it as much as I thought I did, but...
Gulliver's Travels was a hard one for me to place, too.
Yeah, because I think that what you were saying about, like, the spacing is pretty good.
It's done really well here.
Yeah, on these. And I like the symmetry of the like, what are the thirds?
Oh.
The, like, rule of thirds is working here. I just think that it's it's one that I just don't like.
That's valid, yeah.
There's some that I have actual opinions on, and there's some that I just don't like.
I think mine, for Gulliver's Travels, I think I also just kind of feel not strongly either way.
Yeah.
I like that it's one of... I mean, we're barely into it, but so many of them use the same sort of structure, and I like that this one kind of breaks that.
Yeah.
Some of them break it very non-successfully. This one breaks it to kind of zero fanfare. It's
it just doesn't blow me away. Maybe that's its biggest crime. It's just being boring.
Northanger Abbey. Damn, Jane Austen is doing bad.
Yeah, Jane Austen, most of hers ranked pretty low for me.
I actually kind of like how the colors look together. It's a weird beige with a hot pink.
Yeah, I don't love the background color.
I don't love it, but I think it's an interesting choice, and I do respect that.
Yeah.
I do think it would look better if it looked like a lot of thin hot pink as like something to snap. But my main problem with this actually is something that I have a problem with in a lot of them, and it's the pattern is just like it's this way and then it's this way, and it's flipped.
Yeah, it's just the same pattern.
And with the keys specifically, like the ones going this way, they kind of work nice together, but then the other one, there's so much negative space, and the pattern together just looks really wonky to me. And because of how they are, the spacing around the names makes these weird like triangles that like aren't even.
Yeah.
It looks a little better on the top.
I'm learning so much about graphic design.
Yeah. Problem that I have with a lot of these, but the keys, just because they're so skinny, it really like kind of exacerbates it, and I don't. A lot of them also have really weird negative space, which it's okay. So in text blocking, it's called ponds and rivers when you have like weird spaces that you need to get rid of. I don't know if it probably has a term for this, but in my brain I still just think of it as like ponds of like empty space where there should be like action, and it's inactivated, and it just makes these weird columns.
Yeah, I see that, because now that you're mentioning that, like, it is the same key. I thought maybe that it was a different key, but it is the same one, but the spacing is different in them, and it looks weird once you like notice it. Like,
and
you can't
the thing
stop
is,
looking at
the spacing is probably the same, but because they're flipped, they line up so differently.
And then like the ones going like that are like really tight and close together.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Really loose.
Very far apart.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm sure, like, no hate against whoever designed these, especially if it's the same person. There's some really great ones towards the top, but like when you're making so many, like,
yeah, and I mean, I feel like there is also just like a kind of motif of just like very simple like repeated patterns, and that can like, when it works, it really works, but when it doesn't work, it just is so boring.
It seems lazy.
Yeah. So it is just kind of like I think just like an issue that she kind of got trapped into.
Yeah, when she has to design 106 book covers or however many it is.
Of them, some of them are going to be you're going to have your hits and your misses.
Oh, I know it.
My next one was The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
By Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't mind the man. I absolutely hate the pentagram around him with the like dots. I think it just looks very odd. And these like weird circles where there's like a couple dots inside of them, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I think it just looks weird. All the men are like different sizes in the what is it fucking called?
Pentagon? Yeah. Like the thing they did. Pentagram.
It's not like super sharp, but it's also not super
relevant.
relevant.
I think my main one with this, because this one's kind of low for me too, it's just really inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's weird that sometimes the figure is wholly in the pentagon, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to look like him falling down a hole. But I don't really I've never read the book. I don't really have any basis for that. That's just kind of what I see.
I hate that this one has a dot inside the pentagon and none of the rest of them do.
It's very inconsistent, yeah.
Yeah. I just think that this one looks a little bit messy. Like, I feel like if it was just the man, I would like it more. You know, I think that the dots just makes it visually, like, a lot.
Cluttered.
Yeah.
Fourth in the bottom.
Yeah.
I have Metamorphosis by Ovid.
Yeah.
So this is clouds.
Yeah.
For the longest time I thought it was mountains, which is no necessarily a point against it. I kind of like the colors, but my big thing with this is those two giant empty spaces. I just don't even understand. Like, I get it's probably supposed to be like a cloudy sky, so there's like some gaps in it, but only having those two, when you make a decision like that, you have to like really stick to it, and just doing it like that kind of makes it seem like at this point you either have to fill those holes because there's so little of them, or make more gaps so it seems more intentional. But that's my main problem with it. And like the lines coming off the cloud, it's like they're not really part of the cloud. It's like a cloud over water or something, like a shadow of a cloud. Those are kind of weird, but my main problem is those giant holes.
Yeah, I didn't even notice those. Yeah, this one's also pretty low for me, and I don't really like that the clouds all like line up with each other and just like go off on a line. I like the cloud idea. I have read Metamorphoses, and it's plural. Yeah, and I feel like there are better visual motifs in it. It's a series of poems, and like all of them are pretty strong visually. So I don't know that the cloud was like, I feel like that's a very boring safe choice to go with for this. I feel like it could have been a more interesting visual, but I don't love it, but it's not my least favorite. Like, it's not at the very bottom for me. Yeah. My next one is The Turn of the Screw by Henry James.
Interesting.
Kind of, I guess, similar about the dots. Maybe I just don't like dots.
Do you have that thing?
No, the whole thing.
Yeah. You just don't like them.
I just don't like them. Yeah. I do like the eye. I think the eye is kind of creepy. And I do like it. The pupil sizes being different, I think, is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. I think I had this one a bit higher. Okay. I still kind of feel not strongly about it. Yeah, not anywhere to dispute.
Right.
But
we're not going to fight about this one.
Yeah, no. I guess I was looking at them small. I didn't notice the dots. They are kind of distracting, especially how close they get. Like
they get very close to the
when you could so easily move those dots.
Yeah.
You know?
And I just feel like maybe without them it would look nicer.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't like dots. Like that really is.
They were going through their dots phase for some of these covers.
It was a dots phase, and I'm glad that we grew out of it. Okay.
Yes.
Next.
5?
Yeah.
Okay, I have Anna Karenina. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, and I thought this was Salt and Pepper Shaker.
No, it's opera glasses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes... Well, I was going to say that makes sense. I don't know the book. It does make a bit more sense as to why they're placed where they were.
Yeah.
But I just, again, think this one has, like, weird gaps in it. Mm-hmm. Like, I kind of do like the way the negative space makes, like, this wavy line.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think the negative space is weird, and it, again, has those, like, weird triangles formed. Mm-hmm. This was one on the tier maker, which I don't know if you're going to post a picture of the tiers that we made.
Yeah.
But it was, like, gray and purple, which also looked weird. On the official website, it's, like, maroon and pink.
Yeah.
Which I think is better.
This one in real life. It's like pretty bright pink.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think these colors look better, but I still ranked it low. Mm-hmm. Knowing its glasses helps, but me not knowing what it was is also a point against it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I ranked this one higher. But it was like still on my boring tier.
Yeah.
It's just like I thought that it was it was more interesting than some of the other ones.
For sure.
Yeah, and I do like the colors here. I think the like deep red and the bright pink. I think I like it.
Yeah, I like it more than what is it? I think it's gray and purple on the tier list for some reason.
Oh, I didn't notice. I feel like
some of them on the tier list. I mean, they might be. We didn't make the tier list, so
yeah.
Luckily, someone was ahead of us on the ranking idea.
Maybe. But... right. Yeah. Okay. My next one was also a dot one. The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. And I don't hate it. I really don't. I haven't read this, but it gives sci-fi, so I'm imagining that. I think it is just... I think that I just don't like the dots.
Yeah, that's
I think that's just what it is. Because other than that, like, I like the colors. I don't mind the design. I think it's just the dots.
That's okay. So this one I do have higher. Okay. Like this is out of my bottom tier, but I kind of like do have strong opinions. So, like this is from what I saw the only one that uses multiple colors in the design, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. But I think this one has potential, but it has these like rays coming out. And it has 2. And with design, you always wanted to work in odd numbers, especially 3s. Yeah. It's very strong. And I get why it's 2, because there's no room for a 3rd with the way they designed it in the middle, and it'd be weird to have it anywhere else.
Yeah.
But when you run into that obstacle, you just pivot and you redesign in a way to where you can work in those stronger things. That's my main issue with it. I think it makes like this weird breakup where the bottom looks like kind of empty compared to the top.
Yeah, because the rays kind of both turn upwards, so your eyes go upwards.
Yeah.
So the bottom feels
which,
a little void.
You know, it's like an element you can make use of in your design if you want them to look up. But on all of these, I feel like the author and the title is kind of equally important since there are classics.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I do like the circles. I feel like for it being the only one to use multiple colors, I don't think it's doing anything too interesting with them. It's
different from the rest.
It's very different. Yeah. But I think like when I first saw it, I liked that it was different, but the more I looked at it, I was like, it just kind of is lacking in some like design things, mostly being those rays that bother me. Because I do think they're a really cool idea, but like just having 2 and the angles they're going at, it's just very strange.
I wonder if she could like make the design smaller and then have.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, or if that would look too messy.
Because I think it might be a thing like looking at your tier list right here. It's like 2 in the middle, 2 in the middle, 2 in the middle.
Yeah.
So it might just be a thing where she was trying to work in a system, but if you have a system, the system needs to have the flexibility to where you can make things look good regardless of how you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Next.
Okay, so this is my last one that I put in my bottom tier. Not that the tiers on the tier list really matter, but it's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And I actually think the illustrations on this are really pretty, like the pawn stuff, but it is so empty. It just looks really empty, especially on the small screen I was looking at. It probably looks better in person, but I also don't love when patterns are like everything lines up diagonally, and I think this one kind of almost worked with how the second pattern breaks it up by having alternating.
Yeah.
But then like the tall thing is in like diagonals, and I think to me this one's just boring and it's so empty.
My next one is Brideshead Revisited.
Wow.
But again, like now that I'm looking at it again, I don't hate it that much. I think that maybe it's mostly the colors that I don't like. Because I am getting our like ripple idea, but this like gray and white just feels a little.
I actually had this one very high.
Really?
So
Okay.
I can talk about it later.
Controversy.
When we get there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about this one later. Then.
I will say to that point, like on the bottom, how close it gets to the name is bad.
Yeah.
But at some point, I stopped looking at that because almost all of them have those issues. So,
yeah, that's fair.
I don't know what number we're at, but we're just gonna keep going. I have a lot of these coming up. Maybe for a little longer, I'll have stuff to say, but.
Yeah, some of them it gets real boring in the middle.
Yeah, Far from the Madding Crown. Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. The bees look nice. I think the colors look nice together.
Yeah.
But I don't like how the bee wings on one make a diagonal and the other it's the gappy. It's similar to the issue I had with the Keys book cover. Not as bad here. But
yeah, you're so right. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's my main issue with. I think the colors look nice. There's actually decent amount of padding around the title.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of boring, and I think that's what I'm gonna have to say about a lot of them for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's also another cover that looks really similar to this one, and I think looks a lot better, and that made me rank this one lower.
This is the Moths one?
Yeah. My next one was Orlando, so we've already talked about it. I don't really mind the dots in this, actually.
I think they work better with the drawing.
Yeah.
But
next,
I have the Count of Monte Cristo. I actually think the colors look kind of cool here. I like the vibrant reddy orange against the like dark teal. But I think like the mask illustrations look a little poorly done, unfortunately. They look very vectory. Do you know what that means? Okay. How do I put? So they look very digitally made and not like hand drawn, which isn't the worst critique all the time, but some stuff can get so smooth that it's like clip arty in a way.
Okay, yeah.
And I also think like all the masks being at different angles doesn't super work here for some of them. I think it would work if they were all at like 3/4 different ways, but the fact that there's a few that are head on, it just kind of seems poorly done, and there's also a lot of empty space.
Yeah, I don't like this one very much either.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, my next one was The Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. Maybe it is still the dots that I don't like, but I don't know, because they're all touching each other, but there's also like a lot of space between them, so it is both crowded but also not crowded. That I didn't love. I don't love the colors. It's a little like pukey. Yeah.
Right. I have this one coming up also very soon.
Okay.
I don't like it. I think like, do you know this book at all? Like, what is this?
I feel it gives
Petri dish. Yeah.
Look at us.
maybe we are still teenagers. Yeah, I just think it looks like, I think you could do something cool with like circles with dots in them, but it just looks kind of sloppy. especially like the wonkiness of the circles, for lack of a better term, and the unevenness. And you can do stuff like that and have it look good, but this doesn't really look that intentional to me.
Yeah, I feel like they might be like bacterias or something.
Yeah,
that's
that makes sense
at
to
least
me.
like as somebody who like would be walking in the store and not know what the book is about, that's what I would think of.
The Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. I really just kind of don't like the illustration choice. I think some of the diamonds look fine, but the ones that are turned are the same illustration turned, and the angles they pick just feel kind of random and weird. It's weird that there's only two that we're looking at top down, and they're both cropped in the corners. Because like I said earlier...
I didn't see those.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, when you do stuff in design, you want to do it in odd numbers, especially threes. So like it's not even that much more effort to just replace one of those with another top-down angle. Like, you've already made it.
Right, yeah.
And then I also think the one that's from the side or something, it looks squished. It doesn't look like a real diamond. Like,
yeah, there is one that's really
it's like
flat.
long and squished and flat, and it just looks weird. I think the colors are actually quite nice, like the white with like the Tiffany blue. It's pretty.
Yeah.
But I just think this one, the main problem I have is actually the illustrations, and like the way they're placed down just seems really random. Like, even like the one in the middle that's like upright, the only other ones we see upright are cropped off on the edges.
Yeah, and it's like almost all the ones on the edges.
Yeah. It just like, it's almost all of them, and then there's like these random two. It just like, it feels really inconsistent, and it's weird because most of the other covers don't have that problem.
I think this was on my boring tier. I just didn't have strong feelings for it. I do like the colors. My next one was A Confederacy of Dunces, and it was just like purely like
the hot dog.
Yeah. It's not an academic take at all. It's just
that's
like,
very valid.
And I'm sure that it's like so relevant to the book. Like, I'm positive that it's like exactly the cover that the book needs. But
because otherwise, why would you do the hot dogs?
Right.
Especially the drippy hot dog.
Yeah. And I just feel like for this whole like series feels like it's very like aesthetic. It's very intended for like I feel like a very elevated bookshelf
consumer
look. Yeah, right. Yeah. You're buying this like not to read. You're buying this to look pretty on your bookshelf, really.
Yes.
And then like why would you? So just like the choice of this book, I think, is a little bit bizarre to me.
Yeah.
If like your design is gonna be hot dogs and you are gonna put it next to like one of the great ones, you know?
Yeah. I think like, so this one for me, I put it higher, but that's because like I also hate the hot dogs. But I do think that like for design wise, it is done pretty well. Like,
it does the same thing you were talking about though, with like the different angles of these.
It does, but the reason it works in this one is because the drips actually make the angles go from diagonal, like horizontally, to vertical columns.
You're right. Yeah.
And that I think is actually quite elegant, and like I think all the negative space between is activated very well. And I think like there's a good spacing around the title and the author. I think this one's actually very well done, but I just really don't like the illustration. If it was something else that was like a similar shape and had like the hanging off trail, which sounds so gross, but I think this one's done very well, but I don't like the hot dogs. I put it higher just because I can like see that it makes nice shapes and patterns, and like even though it has that problem like you mentioned, like it's able to work in spite of that, and I think improves almost because of it. So like if you're looking to like be a book designer, this one's not a bad one to look at. Just don't draw hot dogs because they're weird. Hot dog is so boy, and girls, our books are so girl.
Books are girl.
Yeah. Next one I have is The Woman in White.
I don't even remember liking this one.
This one to me, there's just weird gaps in it made by. Like, I don't even...
Oh, you're so right, because it's the two bird patterns, and then one of the lines has both of the bird patterns in it.
Yeah, and it just makes weird gaps. And some of the birds are just randomly, like, mirrored. I think the illustrations are fine, I think the colors are nice, but it just has really weird holes in it from the pattern and the way it was laid out. And like even despite the holes, the birds and some of those lines are so close together. Like they just should have been spaced out. I think this one had more potential, but it looks really weird, especially like one thing you do a lot of times when you're looking at your own design to improve it is like you squint your eyes to kind of see where the negative and positive space is, and the gaps here just look really weird.
Oh, my next 3 are all the same. I just didn't know where to put these. The Remembrance of Things Past, volumes 1, 2, and 3. I don't mind the design. I don't love it. I thought that maybe they were all the same, but they're slightly different.
Slightly different. But I put them higher just because I think from a glance they just look interesting, and the color combinations are kind of weird, but I think that makes them interesting. I think on a shelf, like at a glance, you would just think it looks cool. Yeah. Which I don't know if that makes it a good book cover necessarily, but I put them higher just because of that. And like the illustration's kind of nothing, but I just like how, because it's so thin and I think the colors are interesting, I think that makes it better.
See your next 3 since I just
my next 3. Okay. Okay, one we can go right past, The Day of the Triffids. Yeah. And the next I have Love and Friendship by Jane Austen.
Jane, girl.
Yeah, I think these colors are actually nice, like the pink and beige, or peach and cream, or not peach, pink and cream. I think look nice together. I think,
Oh my god, my mama. She's calling me. I'll tell her to text me.
Okay. I don't know if that pauses the voice recording.
Go away. Yeah, let's wait for her to ring out. She's going to voicemail, goddamn. Okay.
Okay, it's still recording. I don't know if it paused, though.
It's fine.
Yeah,
well,
should we clap just in case?
Yeah.
Okay. That was good.
Shit, oh fuck, I think I stopped it. Oh shit, no I didn't. It's got a lot of me cursing.
You're a rated M booktube channel, right?
Oh, she's just, right.
The colors look nice together, this hot pink and cream. I think the shoes are just kind of boring. I think the illustration is just kind of boring. I think the pattern's actually, it's almost fine. Like, the shoes that are pointed, like, this way, there's no good way to describe diagonals, but right. I don't like how they make, like, a horizontal line in it, and then the other ones kind of make a vertical. I just think it kind of doesn't work. I think the negative space and the space around the title are fine, but it's just boring.
Yeah.
And then my next one, which I already talked about, War of the Worlds. So it kind of worked out that you talked about 3.
Yeah. Yes. My next one was Tinker Tailor Soldier. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Again, just like kind of don't have anything remarkable to say about it. I think it's a Russian doll, and like the pieces of it and some little flower petals between. I don't mind it. I really I don't think that it looks bad. I like the colors. I like the kind of orangey red and black. I just don't really have much to say about it. And I honestly could move this one.
I was gonna say I have this one pretty significantly higher.
Okay.
So I can give my opinions on it later.
Okay.
And next I have Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
Like you've been saying, the dots on this one are weird. That's kind of the main thing. Also, this one's very vertical columny because the illustration's so tall. Yeah. And that kind of fine, but I think I don't think it needs to go fully up and down off the page, where we have the stem coming up off the bottom and the bulb at the top, especially because at the top it gets so close to the words. Yeah. But in a lot of them, they don't have them going all the way up at the top and the bottom because it makes a nicer shape, and I think this one would have benefited from that. Yeah. And the dots inside the vials being random doesn't super bother me, but it just seems unintentional, and I also don't love the colors. Sorry, Brat.
It's a
bratty, bratty cover.
My next one was Sandition by Jane Austen. So Jane's first offense. I just think it looks a little tacky.
Fair.
The bright yellow and the bright blue I think is fine. It's very beach. It's giving summer. I don't love the pattern on the umbrella. I'm sure it's relevant to the book.
Are you sure it's the pattern on the umbrella is relevant to the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aren't they always?
Okay, this one I also had significantly higher. So.
Oh. We'll
dissenting
get into it
opinions.
Then. Yeah.
Very.
Get into it later.
Next I have Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe.
Do you think he named it that because of his name?
Because it rhymes. Yeah, I think so. That's why I would do it.
Yeah.
I like the moons. I like the phase of the moons. I like how the placement is, where like it is kind of random, but it's, you know, I like that it is random and not just like the same thing tilted or mirrored or whatever.
Yeah.
I just think like doing circles can only get you so far.
Yeah.
And like it's nice, but like especially because it's like white on black, like it doesn't. Stuff can be simple like this and look classy, and this just kind of looks simple. But I do like the choice of having like the lines to show the moon, so it's still like the full circle.
Yeah.
But I just think like it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of just circles.
Yeah, I think that too. I agree. Yeah. My next one was Mansfield Park, so you already talked about that one.
Yes. My biggest op.
Your biggest op. What's your next biggest op?
Next up on my op list, I have Animal Farm. This one actually moved a bit higher from when I was doing them on the tier list, because seeing it bigger, I realized that it's fences and not just a geometric pattern. Yeah. Which Animal Farm is one of them that I have read. And even if I hadn't, I think I could put together why there's fences on the cover.
Right, yeah.
And I like the shapes it makes. I think it does get a little close to the title up at the top, but at the bottom it has good spacing. But it is kind of just a pattern, and I think it looks a little boxed in because it goes right up to the edges, which, you know, sometimes I give the critique that it shouldn't go off, sometimes I say that maybe it should, but it depends, you know, design to design, and this one I think, like, having those diamonds within it, just, I don't know, it makes it a bit more simple and a bit more static. It's not very activated. But I think it looks nice for what it is. I think the colors are cool. Like red and black can never go wrong. So.
Right. Yeah. Next. Next for me is from the matting crowd. So
the bees.
Yeah, the bees. So I just talked about that one, so I can go to the next one.
I have the Little Prince.
Okay.
I really wanted to like this one because it's space. It's yellow and blue, which I think look nice together. But I think it's not dots. But it's got a similar thing where I think the artist just busied up the cover when they didn't need to. And I think, like, because it's space, they could have done this as one of them where they kind of break their conventions that they've done and done it a bit more random. But especially those circles being in a straight diagonal, that gets to me. But I do like the colors, and I like how it's space. And, like, those stars are also in diagonals, but you can't tell as much because of the way that they're drawn. Mm-hmm. And I just think, like, I guess the circle's a moon, probably.
Yeah.
Or a planet, but just, like, they already have a stylization of Saturn, which would help break it up. So, I think this one comes close to being nice, but it's just too busy, and those lines of circles, I don't love it.
I have this one significantly higher.
Okay, that's fine. But, we already know we're disagreeing on stuff.
Yeah, we can talk about it later then. Why I like it. My next was the Master and the Margarita. I just don't really like a lot of the geometric ones because I think they're
the Master and Margarita, not and the Margarita.
Sorry, right.
It's a little bit different.
Right, Freudian slip.
You wanted a margarita.
I just wanted a mark. Master and Margarita. Yeah, I don't like a whole lot of the geometric ones because I feel like we can do more.
That's valid.
We can branch out. As far as the geometric pattern, I really like this, but I think that what maybe makes me dislike this one is that Penguin, the same company, just came out with like a 50th anniversary of this, and the cover is like beautiful. It's like this incredible illustration.
It doesn't help.
Yes, it doesn't help.
I am a bigger fan of geometric designs, which we'll probably see going forward.
Yeah.
I can already tell you next one.
We're getting into my geometric phase.
Okay. My geometric phase is higher.
We have my circles and my geometric phase coming up.
You hate shapes.
I don't like shapes.
My next one I have is the Canterbury Tales.
Okay.
I think this is not actually horse phase. I think I have a few about horses kind of similar to each other.
Okay, my horse phase is higher, but
yeah.
I think that you could tell by looking at me why.
It probably looks better in person, I will give it that. I think, for me, looking at it on the website, as I did, like I said, on my phone, I think this illustration maybe has too much detail for how small it gets. But I do think it's nice. I think it has the same kind of boring layout. Sorry, not boring. Standard layout that this artist used for a lot of them. I don't actually think it's that boring here. I think the negative space is activated well. I think there's good space around the titles. But yeah, I think for me, like, it's a nice illustration. It's just kind of a lot going on and you lose some of that detail.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, it probably looks better in person when you can see it up close. But to me, it's also just kind of one I don't feel too strongly about.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I'll do my next two because I'm in my phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe you can do your next two if they're also in a phase.
They might both be horses.
Yeah, because my next two were both Dostoevsky, The Brothers Karamazov, and Crime and Punishment. And again, just geometric. I feel like most Dostoevsky covers that I've seen recently are just like some kind of geometric pattern, and we can do more. You know,
That's
I think
valid.
that he deserves a
Very
little
valid.
more. Yeah, but I do like the colors.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they work. I just feel like we can do a little bit more with it. I don't know. That's really what I think and how I feel.
I will talk about them later
Okay,
because I have them
fine.
higher, so I feel like it
That's
makes
fair,
more sense for
yeah.
me to talk about them in praise when
Right,
later.
right,
So,
yeah.
right
Fair.
now we're still kind of ragging on them.
Yeah. We'll go up.
Yeah. My next one I have is Hard Times.
Your horse phase.
Horse
yeah.
phase. Which it was interesting. The one on this tier website, and from what I saw Googling the real one, it's like horses and this plant in between them. But on the Penguin website, it's just horses.
Yeah.
And on the Penguin website, I think the just horses is very boring. There's like really big gaps between them.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have even put it lower. But I have the opposite problem with the other one where I think it's too much going on.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have it be busy than have those giant gaps. Because those...
Yeah.
It definitely feels like those gaps are missing something.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's just a fucking horse. Like,
It's just a
it cannot
horse.
Apply to anything.
And then my next
yeah.
one, not a horse, I have War and Peace.
Oh, I really like this one.
This one, it was kind of hard for me. Like, it has the dots like you don't like.
Yeah.
But they make more sense here because it's
outer
space.
yeah.
But I still think there's some clusters of them where it's like these are really close, and like, you know, in the night sky they would be, but as an artist you can choose to make it look better and nicer. And I don't love the lines made in this, like the diagonal stripes. I like how the comets line up, but like the kind of gappy stripes, if they didn't have those stars there, I feel like they'd look really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of don't love the lines.
Yeah,
the
that's
empty
fair.
space.
Yeah, that's fair. And you have a much more sophisticated take than me. I just think it looks pretty.
All takes are valid.
Mine is Alice in Adventures in Wonderland, or whatever the fuck. Lewis Carroll. I don't hate it. It's like a white. Like, you can't really tell on this picture, but it's like white and then bright pink. And I feel like Alice in Wonderland, like, I feel like it should be a different color than just white in the background.
That's fair.
But I mean, I don't hate the design of the flamingo and the ball. I think that's kind of cute. And that sometimes it's upside down. It's like, she's through the looking glass. Oh no.
So true.
Oh god.
You know how she does.
How she falls through. Yeah, I think that's kind of fun. I just don't think it's the most visually interesting. And like, it's Alice in Wonderland. So
I get that. I have this one higher, actually.
Yeah.
So I'll talk more on it later.
Okay.
But I like that one.
Fair.
My next one I have Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. There's a few of them. There's another one very similar to this, which I think is kind of close, where it's a very beautiful illustration.
Yeah.
But I think even the way it's laid out is done well, but I think just because it is the same illustration repeated, which a lot of these have, but for these I feel like specifically for some reason to me, maybe because they take up so much space, they just kind of feel a bit boring. Like, it's very nice, it's very elegant, but it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And I think the colors look nice. Yeah. And also, like, I get that they're chandeliers, which is why they have those lines, but, like, I feel like you could just take them out, because I don't love how it kind of cuts up that negative space at the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think I have this one a bit higher, just because I like the illustration. But
it is very
I
pretty
see
illustration.
What you mean. Yeah. My next one is Giovanni's Room. And I think that I'm extremely biased on this one because I really love this book. Like, it's one of my favorites. And I just don't feel like this illustration does it justice.
Okay.
But I do like the illustration. I think it's weird where the hands line up
here.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I think that looks very odd.
That is very strange.
I almost wonder if you could just, like, connect them. And if that would look better.
I think it would.
Okay.
Either connect them or just space them out further.
Yeah.
I have this one a bit higher than where you do, but not necessarily because I feel strongly about it.
Yeah, I think the colors are fine.
Period.
Yeah, it's not my favorite shade of, like, orangey red.
That's
it's
valid,
like kind of muted.
For the most part, I think all of the colors that they choose are really cool. Like, and nothing's like super expected. I think there's only a few misses with color combinations, and we've probably already been through them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that my opinion of this book is driving my opinion of the cover.
That's very valid.
Yeah.
See, that's why I'm here, because I haven't read shit. Next up, here's my horse. The Ring of Nibelung?
Sure.
By Richard Wagner. I actually really do kind of like this illustration, but I really like the illustration. I really like the colors. The dots don't bother me. Oh, yeah. But there is one thing about this book that really, really bothered me.
Is it how close the horse gets?
It's how close the horse gets to his name. Specifically, how the horse's foot by the R kind of makes this like parallel line. That really bothers me. And it's unfortunate because I really like the colors together. They really kind of remind me of like Greek pottery.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if this book's about that. I know like the Odyssey and stuff are on here, which would make more sense.
I don't think it is.
But I really like the colors. I really like the illustration. But it's just that little thing that really just I couldn't bring myself to put it higher.
Right. Yeah, I have this one higher. My horse books are higher. But I also just didn't notice that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that most people would.
And I'm not a designer, so I didn't know that rule. But now I'll notice it all the time. Dots don't bother me in this one.
They don't.
Somehow they work. Yeah. My next one was The Phantom of the Opera, and it's one that I don't have an extremely strong opinion on, so, like, I could move this, honestly, anywhere. But I just think it's a little... I like the colors. I like the like, dark, true black and this, like, rich red, I think are really nice for Phantom of the Opera. I just think it's a little bit boring. But I also kind of like that she didn't just do, like, the Phantom mask. Yeah. So I like that. I don't mind the dots here at all. I think the dots look nice. Yeah, I don't mind it, but I don't have a strong opinion on it. Yeah.
I have this one a bit higher. I think actually kind of a lot higher. I don't fully remember, but like I said, my geometric ones are decently high.
Yeah, so. It is very geometric. I think that it looks nice. It just doesn't totally scream Phantom of the Opera to me.
My next one I have is A Tale of Two Cities, which I feel like I remember putting this one lower, and maybe even feel like it should be. It looks like it's knitting, which I've never read this book. From what I understand, it's not about knitting.
Right. I have read this book years ago. I'm not totally certain how the knitting. Maybe just let the stories like two cities being
like
together.
Woven together. I guess
together makes sense. But
yeah, but
there must be some kind of fucking knitting in this book. Though.
There'd have to be knitting.
There has to be knitting
for it to be on the cover.
To be the main thing.
But I mostly think these illustrations are too tall. And I do kind of like, from what you can tell, it looks like they're each almost unique drawings, which they probably aren't. They're probably just cropped in a way. Yeah. But that's nice. I don't love how, in parts of the illustration, specifically the one in the middle left, how close some of those knits get, and they make it brighter. Which it's just a stylization thing where, like, sure, the fabric would get closer together, but you don't have to show it in that way. And I don't love like the X that it makes
in
like
the dead center.
Yeah, I get that it's kind of going for more realistic ways that the fabric would fall, but I don't love it, and I don't love how tall it is on the sides.
Yeah,
I just think like this one is just kind of a weird choice.
Yeah, I think mine is very close to how you have it ranked. My next one is Huck Finn, but I can just go past it. My next one is Naked Lunch, and I kind of like the design. I think it's just the green that I don't really love.
The color's weird.
Yeah, I don't love this shade of green. If it was maybe like either a more muted green, like kind of a sage, or like or if it was like a really dark, like a forest green, really rich green, I would really like it. But this is, we're getting to the point where I start to just not really have an opinion, and they're just a little boring. Yeah,
I think this one I have a bit higher, but the same thing. I like the illustration. I like that it's different.
I really like the illustration, actually.
But I think the colors are like a weird choice.
Yeah.
Like pink and green typically look good together, but the choice of the green, maybe it looks better in person.
Yeah.
Because we are looking at, digital versions, so could look better in person, but I do think the illustration's cool.
Yeah.
My next one I have is 1984.
Yay.
I just don't love the eye choice. Just the circle with the iris. I don't love that it's all the same eye. Yeah. I really actually do like the color combination. I think it's used on some other books that I have higher. I don't like how thick the outline of the eye is either, and kind of just how randomly they seem placed on top of each other, and even there's like one gap where it looks like there's no eye, which it just kind of seems weird choices, and there's parts of it where like the iris gets really close and kind of tight to other eyes based on how they're stacked. And because this one breaks the kind of pattern conventions that this artist used for the other covers, there's no reason that they couldn't have moved stuff around in a way to balance it out.
Yeah, I didn't notice those things, but I agree. Yeah. And
I do know this book.
Right. If you look at the middle, like 4, they kind of look like a penis.
That's true.
I noticed
Maybe
that
I should put this book
while
up.
you were talking, I was like, wait a minute.
That's actually like a really big principle of design.
Don't make things look like a penis.
Yeah, it's called the penis swastika test.
Those are the 2 things
you gotta watch out for.
My next one was Metamorphosis. We already talked about this one. So my next one after that is The Four Tragedies by William Shakespeare. Again, not a super strong opinion. I like the design. I don't know that I totally understand it. It kind of gives Rose a little bit. But I don't hate it. I just don't feel strongly about it. Yeah.
I have this one higher, so I'll talk about it later.
Okay.
My next one I have is Oliver Twist, and I think the next one I have is Middlemarch by George Eliot, and I'm saying them at the same time because they're just kind of, to me, equally boring. It's just like circles and the same standard layout that this artist uses.
Yeah.
And I think the colors on both of these are very nice together.
Yeah.
And I think the illustrations are really cool. But I just think all in all, they're just kind of unremarkable. I think they're pretty. I definitely don't feel too strongly about them. I just think, they're not doing anything great. They're not doing anything horrible.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. Moving on. Oh my god, my next one is Middlemarch. We aligned.
Yeah, finally.
My next ones are Middlemarch and Ulysses. I like the Ulysses. Actually, I feel like I should have put this higher now that I'm looking at it. I think the dots are a little weird in this one because they're just kind of random to space things out. I think it's a well, and the key cross I think is fine. It's another one that I like it. I don't hate it,
Yeah.
But I don't love it.
I think I have this one coming up soon.
Okay.
And similarly, I think it's maybe a little busy.
Yeah.
I do think that the dots don't really add anything, and this right here is not a dot. I don't know if you can circle it.
Maybe that's a printer error.
Maybe it is, but yeah,
but
it's
wait,
just...
this one's the same, so it's not. It's intentional.
I
cracking the case.
We're on top of this one. I just don't feel super strongly about it.
Yeah. I will say that I have yet to see a Ulysses cover that I've liked. So So, this is better than nothing. It's better than a lot of them out there.
That's valid. Yeah. I have not seen any Ulysses covers.
That's fine. Yeah.
This is at the top for me.
Okay.
My next one I have is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, which this one is very similar to the Chandelier one earlier. I don't remember the name of the book, but...
Great Expectations.
there you have it.
Yeah.
I think this illustration's really pretty, but just the same kind of thing. It's similar to the last two I had, where it's just kind of the same standard layout.
Yeah.
I think this one's done better because the illustration's really pretty. In black and white's always nice, but me personally, I just think like I love color, and an interesting color combination will always make me more excited than just black and white.
Yeah.
But it is a really beautiful illustration.
I have this one significantly higher.
I felt like it would be for you.
I feel like it's definitely in my top tier.
Some of mine in my top tier you've already had.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah. I like that it's black and white because it's a peacock feather. And like
That's
that
fair.
It's kind of like ironic in that way. But I do see what you're saying, and I do like, because you said it about Great Expectations, I do think that the line is a little bit weird. Like,
yeah, it made sense for Great Expectations. Right, it makes even less sense here.
Like wire that the
string,
chandelier
whatever it
is
is,
hanging from. Yeah.
Like this one, I'm almost wondering.
I can't justify what it is in this. Yeah.
I'm almost wondering if it was the artist's line to line it up, and they
right.
forgot to take it out.
Yeah, I feel like if it didn't have it, it would look very silly. It wouldn't really change the effect of it. Yeah, and it would kind of unbox the title and the author name.
Right,
yeah.
But even as it is, they're much better than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah, I really like this one.
It's very pretty.
My next one is My Brilliant Career by Miles Franklin. And again, I kind of like this one. I just don't have very strong feelings towards it.
Valid.
I think that the little railway design is nice. I like it. I just don't feel super strongly about it. Yeah.
I think I have this one kind of high, but I also don't super feel strong about it. I just kind of like how the illustrations go into each other with like the railroad changes or whatever they are. I like how I think all of the illustrations are connected.
Yeah, it is symmetric. It's just like a little like mirrored.
Yeah, I think it's very nicely done, but
yeah,
not
I agree.
super strong opinions. Yeah. Even though I think it will be kind of significantly higher on my list.
Yeah, I think it's a very well made cover.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I just don't. It doesn't
excite me.
It doesn't spark joy for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My next one, Ulysses.
Oh wow!
Which you already talked about. So. Okay,
next. That's the end of my tier. Next is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I think kind of same as the railway. I like that they're all connected. I like that it's pretty different from the other designs. It just doesn't jump out to me as like extremely exciting.
Yeah.
I like the colors. I think this like kind of mustard muted yellow is nice. Like yellow orange. I like it. Yeah, I just don't have extremely strong feelings for it.
Yeah, I think I have this one higher, kind of just like the last one that you showed.
Yeah.
But similarly, I don't necessarily feel super strongly about it. I think at some point I was putting things high because they were different and looking at the same stuff for so long. But I really like the colors on this one. And it does not seem like it tells you much about the book. Like, I guess they're probably roads.
Probably on the road, yeah.
But even then, I know this is just a digital brush that has 4 lines next to each other because I've used it. So
okay, yeah.
And I just think like it's cool, but it's not doing anything crazy special. Even though I do like it.
I agree. Yeah.
My next one I have is The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy, Gentleman.
Naturally.
This one gets really close to the title of the book.
Yeah.
Which I don't love. This one to me I felt was very similar to Ulysses.
Yeah.
Is this another key or is this like a music box thing?
Yeah, I think the like crank in something.
Yeah. To me it felt very similar to Ulysses. I like it more. I like that there's variation in like the cloud size, but I do think it does get a little close to both the title and the author.
Yeah.
But I do like it, and I really like the stylization on the crank.
Yeah. My next tier is like my circle tier, so it's I think it's 2 that you've talked about this one, but I don't know about. I have The Pearl by John Steinbeck, and then Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Kind of for the same reason that I like the design, like what you were saying with the moons. I like the like lines instead of just like cutting it. Yeah. It's just like at the end of the day, like just circles.
Yeah, I feel similarly about The Pearl, and I'm sure it's coming up soon for me.
Yeah.
My next one is actually your worst one, Gulliver's Travels.
My second to worst.
Oh,
yeah.
My mistake. Yeah, we've already talked about it. I kind of like that it breaks convention, but I think one thing I didn't like is just, like, the flags look so samey, which I feel like it's like a pirate ship, right? Or, like, a ship anyways.
Oh, yeah, I thought it looked more like clotheslines, but I think that makes more sense. Yeah.
I just thought, like, it's fine that you're reusing your illustrations especially when you have so much to do, but, like, putting the two with the X's that are mirrored next to each other,
right?
I just feel like there was better ways you could organize your things.
Yeah.
And I don't love the post in the middle that kind of does nothing.
Yeah.
But I like the colors, and I like that it's different. And then my next one after that is The Lonely Londoners by Sam Selvin, which I think this one is almost too structured. And I like that it kind of breaks itself up, but it gives me Halloween spooky spiderweb, which I don't think is what it's going for. I like the colors together, but I don't think it's necessarily serving this book very well.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's geometric in a way that I don't love.
I don't know what's next. Oh, David Copperfield is so much higher than Gulliver's Travels, even though it looks very similar.
Yeah.
I think that maybe I just like the colors more in David Copperfield. I think the, like, kind of neutrals is cool for this one. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about it, but I think that it breaks the conventions in a way that's very interesting. It does have these lines up at the top, though, again, but they're, like, slightly curved.
Yeah, interesting.
So, oops. Fuck. Wow. Oh, it's probably just went like that.
So you got Lonely Londoners next.
Right. Wow. The Lonely Londoners is next. So we're aligned again.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I actually have David Copperfield kind of high, so I can talk about it later.
Yeah. Okay, great, yeah.
But next up for me is Pinin. Pinin. Do you know how to say it?
I've never heard it out loud.
It sounds weird, right?
That's gotta be it, though.
I have the tooth book next, because I can't keep saying that word. I like the colors. I like how even though, like, those... It's just a weird name, right?
Yeah.
I guess he seems like he's Russian or something. Maybe.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
It must make more sense in the native tongue.
I'm sure it rolls off the tongue so easy in Russian.
But I like even though the teeth make a diagonal, the other teeth are similar in size that it doesn't really bother you. Yeah, it's nice. I just think I don't feel too strongly about it, so. Fair. Doesn't get much higher.
Yeah, I think mine is also on this tier somewhere in this tier. Once it gets to the middle, I feel like the
it's
order,
all a haze.
The order like kind of doesn't even matter. That's
very
it's
true.
Just, like,
we're just kind of biding time until we get to the top.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then I have Animal Farm.
Very similar to Lonely Londoners.
Yeah, very similar to Lonely.
Yeah.
I had the same feelings as you. I like the design. I feel like it does tell you something about the book. Then A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah.
So you can do your next two, I guess.
My next two, okay, I have Dracula.
Ooh.
Which... My main issue with this is I like that it's dark on dark, but because of that, I just kind of can't make out too much. I think the illustration looks really cool. It looks like a flower of some kind.
Yeah.
I do think, like, as in, like, the second row, the swoops kind of make a weird, or not a weird rhythm, a very standard rhythm that, because it's standard, it's kind of boring to me. But I like the dark on dark. I like the illustration, but it's just kind of... It probably looks better in person. I'll give it that.
I think so, yeah. I also have this one ranked significantly higher.
I had a feeling, but I kind of had a feeling just because it's Dracula.
Yeah.
And then my next one I have is the Aeneid by Virgil, which I think this one's actually pretty nice. I don't love the random, like,
the ground that they're standing on, I guess. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I feel like my picture doesn't have that.
It just doesn't feel necessary.
Yeah.
I like how they look like they're fighting with each other on the cover. And that it's like the dark and then the one shield is like darker and the other one's more airy. I think that's cool. But yeah, I don't feel super strongly about it. I like the colors.
Yeah, I also have this one higher, but I agree. Yeah. My next ones are Oliver Twist and Count of Monte Cristo, so we already talked about those. We can move on.
The list is going quicker.
Yeah.
Next I have Cranford.
Yeah.
By Elizabeth, I cut off her name. It says Elizabeth Gass, but I'm sure there's more to her
sure
last
that's
name.
not her name.
I think the colors are nice together. I think the illustration's pretty. It kind of, to me, is similar to like the chandelier and the peacock feather, especially because it also has that line, which I don't think is necessary.
Yeah.
But not too much to say about it, to be honest.
Fair. My next one is Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings by Charles Dickens. I don't mind this one that much. I kind of wish that it was like instead of this dark blue for the snowflakes, it would be like a light kind of like icy blue, so it'd be like white on white almost.
Yeah. Next I have Little Woman by Louisa May Alcott, and then Emma by Emma by Jane Austen. And they're very similar to me. They're just kind of objects mirrored on a cover. Little Woman, I think it might look better in person, but the colors to me are a little too similar, and the illustrations get a little close to the title. Not like horrible, not like some of them, but a little too close. Whereas like Emma, I think has better clear space, and for some reason, it's just a chair. I like the illustration. It looks nice to me, and I think especially the color, like the white and that like bluish, like blue, green, gray. I like it.
Yeah, I agree. My next one is Love and Friendship by Jane Austen. And we already talked about this one. It's just kind of shoes, yeah. Next
up, I have Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which it's similar, like, again, to that same sort of beautiful illustration, tall. But this one I feel like is a little busy, even though it's higher than those other ones, which, maybe it shouldn't be, but when you're ranking 106 books, some fall through the cracks.
Right.
But
this one's coming up very soon for me.
Yeah, it's a little busy. I don't get like what those lines are that are coming off of like the stems. It looks like a fern of some sorts, but so I'm not really sure what those lines are.
Yeah.
And it gets pretty close, especially to the top, like the title. Those leaves come really close to the bottom of the text.
Yeah.
It feels really tight and it feels really busy.
Yeah, I agree. I have like a flower phase that's coming up where it's just like flowers.
I think my flower phase is kind of high.
It's in there. Yeah, it's
they're nice.
I think it's coming up. Yeah. Oh, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Kind of the same thing with the lines coming off that I can't really explain.
It must just be another sort of style.
Yeah, just a stylistic choice. Yeah. I don't hate this one. I think the design is cute, and the colors are very, like, cutesy. I think it's maybe a little bit busy, but I don't mind it terribly.
Yeah, I think I have this one kind of high, so I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
My next one I have is Around the World in 80 Days, which we talked about. I think I put it a lot higher than you.
Yeah.
Well, I know I put a lot higher than you, but I think I did it because I actually do like the colors. I like the blue and here it looks cream. You said it was like a white though in real life?
I think it is maybe. I don't know that I've seen it in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like the colors together, and that's kind of the main reason I put it higher. And I like that in this one, all of the illustrations are unique. The
Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. And it is, again, I think we're just in my flower phase now, where it's I like it. I think this is very pretty.
Yeah.
I think the illustration is beautiful. It's just flowers. You know?
I think I have this one kind of higher, but
I
agree. I just think it's pretty.
I
like that there's space around. I like the colors together.
The space is nice around her name and around the title.
It feels a lot more intentional here, like almost like the flowers are making room for her, where a lot of them it just kind of feels like the illustration just stops so that you can read the name, which I like about this one.
Yeah.
My next one I have is Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I think this one, it was hard for me because on one hand, I think the heart is a really great illustration.
Mm-hmm.
I like how detailed it is, and it's very different from everything else. On the other hand, it's the same very standard layout, And for me, like, one thing that just kind of felt weird to me is that the heart's just mirrored, because you can't just mirror a heart. Like, then
it only goes one way.
Like, which is, like, very nitpicky, but, like, it's something, like, if I did, you know, there's certain things, like, if I was working and I mirrored a heart, a manager would be like...
It's a critique that you get,
you know, it's be like, hearts don't go that way. You can't just mirror it. And I get, like, it's a very detailed illustration, and anatomical hearts are almost only recognizable one way, because we only ever see them the one way. Like, you could find another angle and draw it, but people wouldn't recognize it. Yeah. So I don't really hold that against the artist too much. And the colors are nice. But yeah, it's a really great illustration, which why I put it so high, even though the layout is kind of basic.
Yeah, I have this one higher, but I agree with all that. I think it is a little basic. There's a little much white space, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
But, and I also thought about the flipping heart is a little bit weird.
Yeah. You love Frankenstein.
I love Frankenstein, so I like this cover, yeah.
I think it's a good cover, but...
Yeah, it
just
works
from, like,
for
a
the
design
book,
standpoint.
but I do think that it could be a little stronger, yeah. My next one is Vanity Fair, so we talked about that. And then the life and opinions of that guy.
You mean Tristram Shandy Gentleman?
Of course. Yeah, so same stuff that you talked about. It was a little higher in my boring phase, yeah.
Yeah. Next up in my boring phase, the Ten of Belleville Hall, which we just talked about. And then I have the turn of the Screw and Other Ghost Stories, which was your worst? Or no?
It was pretty low. Tier, yeah.
I think I was kind of really comparing it to 1984.
That's fair.
Because they're both eyes, and I liked this one more. But the dots are a lot, which I guess I didn't realize at the time. But I still think that the illustration is cool.
Yeah, now that we're talking about it, I do like these eyes a lot better than the 1984 eyes. Of course, I haven't gotten to 1984, so it's higher.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish that this was the eye for 1984.
Right, it's very much like...
And it feels more like it's watching you.
That's what I was going to say, especially because the pupil grows. Like, the Big Brother eye being so comical.
Yeah, right.
For the one book I know.
Right. It's a very, like, cartoony eye, and this one feels, like, very realistic. The, like, small pupil, like, it's focusing on you. Yeah. I have this, The Woman in White, we talked about. Yeah. Next.
Next up, I have Persuasion by Jane Austen, which I think this is a really beautiful feather.
Yeah.
I really like the colors. I like the sort of rhythm it gives from the mirroring, and the mirroring doesn't even bother me here. Like, it doesn't usually ever bother me because I get why the artist is doing it, but like here it actually kind of works to strengthen it instead of just being for variations purpose.
Yeah.
I think that the leaves are maybe a little close to the title of the book up top. I do like how they curve away from it, but I still would have liked them to be a little further apart. But it's really pretty, but it's also kind of... I just don't feel that strongly about it.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess this is my bird phase, because my next one is Les Mis.
Your next one's also
and
birds.
My next one is Treasure Island. So, the Les Mis birds... I like the Les Mis birds. I think that the lines work for this one.
Yeah, they're being used.
They're being utilized, yeah. I like that they're different birds. I like the colors. I think it just didn't stand out to me. I just put it with the other birds. And then kind of same for Treasure Island. I actually, now that I'm looking at them, I like the Treasure Island birds, I think, less than the Les Mis birds. But... yeah, that's it.
Nice. I have my bird face is pretty high, other than that other bird, so I'll talk about them in a bit.
Okay.
Next up, I have The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle, which actually I like this one a lot. I like the colors, I like the moth illustrations, I like the wide variety of moths. The one thing I didn't love, I know why the pins are in the moths, but I don't...
Oh, I didn't even notice the pins. Oh my god.
I don't love how one is making this line that goes this way, and the other one doesn't do that. And I think the reason is because, like, in one diagonal they're going to the left and one they're going to the right.
Yeah.
But if they would have just mixed them up, it would have made a nicer rhythm. And we're kind of at the point where I don't feel super strongly, so that's why I kind of just placed it a little lower. But I do really like the colors in the illustration.
Yeah, mine is higher, and I do like the variation and the yeah. Oh, you can do another one because I just did two.
Oh right, you're both your birds. Next, I have Naked Lunch, which we already talked about.
Perfect. The White Cigars You See is kind of, I think I put it here for the same reason as the palm leaves and the Treasure Island. It's just not my favorite motif. It does get very close to the words up here. It feels a little bit busy, but I really like the colors. The purple and red I think is really pretty.
I have this one kind of high mostly for the colors because I saw how close it gets to the words and I was like, I kind of don't mind it in this one. I mean, I do mind it, but I just like the cover a lot otherwise because of the way the color is used. I think they're really cool together. And I bet it probably looks really good in person.
And I think that it does have those lines on the side, but they're swoopy and they connect like through the palm leaves or the leaves.
Inferno, the Divine Comedy 1.
Nice.
Which I don't think there's a Divine Comedy 2 on this list. So is the other one not
a
classic?
Yeah. I mean, they only have Inferno. Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
But I just really like the illustrations. I like the little devils. I like the dancing. I like the colors. There's good space around the words. I think there is some instances of like weird negative space. But I think the illustrations are really cute, so I didn't really mind it in the end. Yeah,
I agree. My next one is it's my leaf phase. My next one is Persuasion, and then one after that is Portrait of a Lady. Just kind of for the same reason. I like them both. I think it's a really beautiful feather. I think these leaves are cute, but they're just not doing anything for me. They're just a little bit boring.
Very valid.
So that's that on that.
My next one I have is Remembrance of Things Past Volume 3, which we talked about much earlier from your list.
Yes.
But like I said, I kind of like the illustrations on these. I just think the color palette on this one is the weakest.
Fair.
And then above that I have The Master and Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. I like geometric illustrations, like I said earlier. This one's very kind of Art Deco to me, which I really... Art Deco is one of my favorite styles. But it's also like, it's kind of Art Deco, but it doesn't go fully. I like how the lines on this one kind of stagger to make room for the name. I think that's a really cool detail. But what I don't love is like it's making these like triangles, but then there's like this harsh cut. Yeah. And it just, I don't get the point of it. Like if it like tapered or something to make it look a bit more intentional. But it's just kind of a harsh cut. And also the colors and it's giving Christmas because it looks like Christmas trees, and I just can't imagine that's what the book's about.
It does look a little bit like Christmas trees. Next one is Tess of the Dupervie. It's just sweet. And I think it's a very nice drawing. It just is a little bit on the boring side for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think I have that one a little higher. I like wheat. I thought it was like cute. Yeah. And I like the balance of the negative positive space on that one and the color.
Yeah.
But my next one I have is Sense and Sensibility, Jane Austen. We talked about it just a bit ago. I think I like it a bit more than you. I still think that the lines are weird, but I like that there's kind of the big flower illustration, and even though it's still part of it, the smaller flower, I think it helps break it up in a really nice way. Yeah. And I like the colors a lot, the pink and blue. Yeah. It's very gender reveal. Very cute, very cutesy.
It's so cute. My next one is Cranford.
You're in a very nature phase.
Yeah, all my nature ones are kind of on the same because I feel like it's a very safe choice, you know? Yeah. But I think you already talked about this one, so can go by. Oh, because my next one is also Leaves, and it's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So yeah, same thing. I think it's beautiful. I really like the colors on this one.
I really like the colors on this one too.
This is a gothic book, so the like kind of fall vibe I think is really fitting.
Very over the garden wall.
Right. It is just at the end of the day like a leaf.
It's just leaves. Yeah. I think I have that one a bit higher, but mostly the colors. Yeah. Next up, I have Bleak House, which originally I kind of had this one higher because I like the cages, I like the illustrations, and I really like the colors. But like nitpicky, I just like the bird cage that's kind of in the shape of like the Taj Mahal. I don't know how to describe it.
Sure.
The way that it's done, I think like the normal bird cage shape, they're spaced out really well, but this one, that round part comes so close to the bottom corner, and it just makes like a bit of tension where like if they had just shrunk it a little bit, it wouldn't have that problem.
Yeah.
So that's what took it down a bit for me. But now looking at it, my next one is Pearl, and I don't like Pearl as much as this one. Pearl's kind of boring to me.
Yeah.
And we already talked about Pearl, just circles.
Yeah, just circles. My next one is Villette, by
Leaves.
also Charlotte Bronte. Why'd they do her like this?
Is she a leaf girl?
I guess, but like, I mean, it's a very similar design.
Very, yeah.
And I really like the vines in this, actually. I think that's pretty cool.
They're nice.
And I like the colors,
Did you do
because
these?
I just did these two together.
And then I did these
So
two together.
you're gonna do
Okay.
one.
Oh, wait, we have the same
Wait,
one!
oh my god!
Wow, we have the exact same one next. The mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I don't feel that strongly about
I don't
it.
feel strongly about it
I like
either.
the colors. What are those little confettis? I don't know. I like the drawing of the bull. I like the colors. I like the space that it creates around the words.
Yeah. Yeah, I like all that stuff too. I think the colors are nice. And that's that on that.
His back foot kind of looked like he wearing a sneaker.
Yeah. Next.
Next up, I have my Brilliant Career, which we talked about already. I did.
Next up, I have Little Women and Hard Times. Little Women, I like the brown and pink. I think that it's a cute combo, so I think that's why this is higher for me. Also, like, this was my phase where I was looking at a lot of flowers, and so I was like, oh my god, it's not a flower.
Oh, yippee, scissors.
Yippee! And then I have Hard Times. My horse phase is higher than yours.
That makes sense for you.
Right. I agree that it's busy, but I kind of like that it's busy.
Yeah. I think my thing is just how busy it is around the name.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
yeah.
I don't hate maximalism.
Right.
My next one, which we already talked about, I have the hot dog one.
Dog.
Confederacy of Dunces. I just don't like the hot dog, but I will concede that it is designed pretty well.
Yeah.
And my next one that I have is The Portrait of a Lady, which you also just talked about the leaves.
Yeah.
I really like the leaf illustration, especially the one that's like folding over itself.
I like that one too.
I think it's cute.
Yeah, that one's so cute.
And like this one, I actually like that the ones in the middle are the same because I think it kind of breaks it up in a fun way.
Yeah. My next one is Lolita by Nabokov. I really appreciate that this is a cover of Lolita that isn't like actually a sexualized child, because like that
good.
seems to be the motif with covers of Lolita, is that like the book is about, you know, a pedophile, and like you're supposed to be like, oh, this guy is awful, and then the cover is just like doing exactly what he would have done. So I think that's
not
kind
great.
of, yeah. There's the like very iconic, like the red sunglasses and the lollipop, like, and it's like I really appreciate that's not what this is doing.
That's very good.
I just don't have strong opinions about it. That's just the way that.
I think my Lolita one is also pretty close. I think there was one earlier which was also yellow and black, but I think this one
1984 is like the same colors.
I think this one, I think it's much more striking here because of the thin lines. I think it's weird how, like, I get the lines because it's like they're on like, what's it called,
like
street
pole,
signs,
maybe?
on a pole. But it's weird that they would do it in the middle and just have it cut off before the names, which is good that they don't have it running through, but. Still weird.
Could have just like cut it off here and like here.
Yeah, just cut it off where the end and start, right? You know. And I also I think it's cool that it's like vintage signs, but it's weird to see them blank.
Yeah.
But I do like the shapes. I love design from that era.
Yeah, very cute.
My next one I have is the Iliad by Homer.
Yeah.
I like the fire. I just think it's maybe a little busy. And I think there's also it's weird because it's only in one space, but there's this line of negative space, and it's weird that it only happens once because you would think it would happen again.
Yeah, I think it's about to happen.
I think it would happen, but then the name cuts it off. But because it only happens that once, like, the artist could have moved it over, and then, like, it is a little busy, but because it's not, like, fully committing to that, if the fire was, like, fully engulfing it and, like, without that negative space in places, I think I would like it more.
Yeah.
But I think the colors are cool.
Yeah.
And I read the Iliad. I don't remember fire being a big part of it. It's just, like, the city burns.
I mean, yeah, but not in the book.
Right.
Like, so afterwards.
It should have been another horse.
Yeah, another horse. Could have been like, I guess she already did the like warriors with the Aeneid.
Yeah, there's a lot of war books.
There's a lot of war.
And my next one is Lolita, which
oh my god, perfect.
Just talked about,
yeah.
So.
My next one is I don't even know. Oh my god.
Can I look up how to pronounce?
Yeah, of course.
How to pronounce Panine.
Panine.
Panine?
I guess you could have added a little bit of a...
You add the
a breath to it, yeah.
Panine.
Yeah.
Okay. The tooth one.
Yeah, I agree. I moved this one around a couple times when I was making my list.
Mm-hmm.
I like the tooth.
Yeah.
I think it, for some reason, feels a little bit wonky, but...
The tooth?
Yeah. I don't know if maybe... I guess it's on teeth look, though, so...
I too, so...
Oh, and then my next one is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I like this one. I think it's a little bit busy, but I like the octopus, and I like...
The jellyfish.
Right, whatever the fuck it is. You're so right, though. I think that maybe what I went back and forth on was like this bright yellow, but I guess because I was thinking that like because they're 20,000 leagues under the sea, it's better like bioluminescent, like these like really bright colors. So I like this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. It's pretty high up for me. Mm-hmm. But I think mostly I really love the black and yellow. It's like the opposite of the Lolita one, and it really kind of pops. And I just like the illustration. I like that they're letting the illustration overlap here.
Yeah,
I like the jellyfish.
Yeah.
But it's pretty high on mine, so we'll just get to that later. My next one I have is Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte, which I put it really high just because of the colors. They're really nice, and so is the illustration. Very fall.
So fall. Yeah. Do you want to do another one?
Next I have A Christmas Carol and Other Christmas Writings. I don't mind that it's the dark blue and the white. I just think it's very striking. Especially because I like the thin lines they use in the snowflakes.
Yeah.
And I like how the larger snowflakes are very set to like the pattern, and then the other ones are kind of more random, which they're not random. You can see the pattern in them, but I like just how broken up it is. And I think there is maybe there's a few spots where there's like weird negative space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's nice.
Yeah, fair enough. My next one is Anna Karenina, and I feel like the colors look different on yours.
That one was
I feel like I like the colors better on yours. But, yeah, I mean, we already talked about it, so... I feel like I like that better.
Yeah. On the Penguin website, it's red and pink, but on our tier list, it's like brown and lilac.
Yeah.
So... Not sure which one's real. Okay, my next one is Giovanni's Room. I put it high just because I like the colors. I like the orange and like the off-white. But like you noticed earlier, which I didn't really notice, the way the hands like almost meet up, but they don't.
Yeah.
I guess if they were connected, I'd say it's weird that they're connected.
Right.
I also think it's weird, like, I guess the hand's trying to catch the rain, so I feel like maybe the hand should be in front of the rain and the rain instead of the rain in front of the hand, especially because in a few places, like, it kind of meets up in a weird way and makes a weird shape. But back to the hands thing. If it was going to look weird either way, make the hand smaller or something so you don't have that issue. Or cut it off at the palm instead of including some of the wrist.
Oh, my next one was Bleak House by Charles Dickens. I think the next one is Great Expectations.
Very similar.
Yeah, so I had these higher than you. I think it is just a personal preference, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree with what you said about them. I really like the colors for both of these.
I do too.
Yeah. I think the designs are really pretty for them. But the like illustration of the chandelier and then of the bird cages.
It's nice because they have like really heavy parts of the color and then like really thin lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the perspective might be a little bit wonky with the bird cages. Yeah, these are they're like it's
like that thing where you
like
draw a cube
angle.
and just based on how you think about it, it could change how it looks. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But the typical birdhouse shape looks like it's head on, so it's
You're
weird
right.
that one's at an angle.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, it might be my brain playing a trick. But
my next one, I have Jabberwocky and Other Nonsense. I like the colors a lot. I like the illustrations. I think what I would have done is there's kind of some banding with how they are. I would have just like offset it to where like the middle of these pair of dragons comes to like the bottom of this pair. Does that make sense? I feel like you don't think it makes sense. So I would have, like, if the middle ones were in the same place, I would have shifted the ones on the side up so that instead of making vertical lines, it would just be a little offset. And I think that would have made it better, but I still really like this one. And my next one, actually I'll just say two, do three in a row, because I have Remembrance of Things Past Volume 2, and then Remembrances of Things Past Volume 1.
Okay.
They are different illustrations, but I mostly just did it the color. I like the purple more.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. My next, this is perfect because my next two are really similar. Madame Bovary and Wuthering Heights. I really like the illustrations for both of these. I think they're very pretty, especially Wuthering Heights. I really love the colors. Love the pomegranate, like, bursting open. I think those are beautiful. My next one is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I really like this illustration too. I think it's very cute. I love the little plane. I think it's a little weird that the wing gets cut off here.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
But other than that, I really like this illustration. I feel like it could go higher, you know?
Yeah, I think I actually have a couple of those decently high, so.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm at the decently high part of my list,
We're decently high by now.
So
yeah.
I'll yeah, but I think they're like close to my top, so I'll talk about them when I get there. Now I have Wild Sargasso Sea, which I just like the colors. It's really not much more to it than that.
Fair.
And then I have Wuthering Heights. So, the colors look better on your screen.
The colors look different.
I think they're just faded here because it seems like it's the same.
This one looks kind of green though, and that looks gray. Yeah, I like the green more.
I definitely do too. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a really pretty illustration.
Yeah. My next one is Emma. I almost said my name is Emma.
My name is Emma.
My next one is Emma. Yeah, it was kind of the same thing as the scissors. Is that like I really like this little illustration, and I just liked that it wasn't more flowers or more leaves. And I like the colors. They're very simple, but I think that it really works.
It just like pops in a nice way.
Yeah. The like stripes in the chair using the color from the background, I think is cool. Yeah. My next one was The Outsider by Albert Camus. I like this one, and I like the colors. I think that I put it here. I don't really know why.
My next one I have up is Lady Shatterley's Lover.
Ooh.
I think this one just looks really nice. I think it's a dragon.
Yeah.
And it's on top of
some kind of like fire thing.
A brazier, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I think that's what it's called.
It's a dragon on top of a brazier, and I just think it looks really cool. I think the mirroring of the illustration works really well here. I think like all of the negative space is very active. It's really well done. Yeah,
I agree. That one's coming up for me. My next one is Dubliners by James Joyce. I like this one. I kind of wish there were maybe like more roads or maybe
Ballad.
Yeah, but I really like this one. I like the brick pattern. I think the space like doesn't feel I don't really love that they're in a line here.
Yeah, I just kind of noticed that.
Yeah, but I think that, like, where there's gaps in the bricks, it looks more natural because it's, like, there's just, like, holes in the brick.
Yeah, and because they established that, they can remove it around the title and the name in a really
and
nice
then it
way.
looks really natural, really nice.
And the colors on this one are simple, but they work really well together.
Yeah, I think they're good. Next.
My next one I have is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson.
Ooh.
I think the colors are really effective here. I really like how they utilize, like, thick, like, big blocks of color and then contrast it with, like, thin lines, and it kind of also makes this really cool perspective.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really nice cover.
Yeah. This one's coming up for me, too.
Yeah, we're getting to the high spots, so, like, the only difference, like, between them is that I just kind of like the next one more. Like, I don't, at this point, I feel like there's not a ton wrong with them.
Yeah. Oh, my next one is the Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I kind of disagree with myself now. That this
After
is here.
realizing your circle hatred.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was being... And my next one after that is 1984, and we just talked about how we wish it was different. So,
Listen, it was a lot to rank.
It was a lot to rank. I feel like I could move these down.
Yeah, I feel like...
Yeah.
I feel like if I stared at these for a long time, my list would be a bit different.
Right, yeah.
But I still feel like my strong opinions are the same. So the middle is...
The middle is just kind of...
The middle.
Yeah.
The middle's the middle.
The middle is the middle.
So my next two, I have Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. I really like the illustrations of the buildings. I like the cascade of it. I like that the repetition isn't very noticeable. And, like, this time the diagonals kind of go the other way of what we're used to. So you don't even kind of notice it because your brain reads left to right instead.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. And then above that, I have The Sonnets and a Lover's Complaint. I just think this one, the colors are really nice. I like how, especially around the title, the illustration is removed for it. It seems very intentional.
Yeah.
And the flowers are really lovely, even though you have beef with them.
Yeah, but this one I have up pretty high.
Yeah,
I think this one
one's
just, like,
it's
really
done really
comes
well.
together really beautifully. The Grimm Tales. I like this one a lot. I think that the lines, like, as the stems works really well. I think that, like, the apples with the eyes on them, and they're kind of looking different directions. I think that's super cute. Yeah, I don't know about the colors on this one. It looks like, at least on my screen, it looks like a pretty bright green and, like, a pretty dark green.
I think it might be green and black.
Okay.
But I'm not positive.
That's fine.
I still think it's really nice. I think the colors are really good together.
Yeah,
I like the illustration a lot.
I like this one a lot.
Mine's pretty high too. I mean, obviously.
We haven't gotten to it yet.
But my next one is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. I put this one pretty high. I might move it down if I was reevaluating. But I just really like the colors together, and because it's just lines, I think it breaks up the colors in a cool way. And because it only gets thicker where the lines cross over each other, it, like, makes sense. And the negative space doesn't even bother me here.
Yeah, I agree.
And then my next one, just because we've already been over that, we've already been over this one too, Viette. Yeah. I think the blue and the cream are really nice together, and it's a really pretty illustration of a leaf. I mean, I don't have much more to it than that, but it's really nice. Yeah,
I agree. My next one is The Haunting of Hill House, and then The Jabberwocky. So, I really love this cover for The Haunting of Hill House. I think it looks really cool. Haunting, so haunting. Yeah, it gets that atmosphere very effectively, I think. And then the Jabberwocky, I like that they're kind of in different positions, and, like, that they're kind of weird. I think the really bright color works for, it's like, it's weird, it's out there, it's kind of, it's strange, it's like in the Alice in Wonderland universe, so, I think it's cute. I think the drawing is cute, too.
I do, too. My next one is Tess of Duberville, which we already talked about. It's the wheat one.
Yeah.
I like wheat, I guess. Well, okay, in full transparency, when I made this list, I had been drinking.
Fair.
And the wheat really excited me. For reasons unknown. Okay. I was like, oh, it's wheat.
Oh, shit.
I was like, that's going up high.
Damn.
Yeah, it does kind of have that sort of thing where it's very repetitive, but I don't really mind it here because of the way the illustration's done. And also it does get a little close to the title, but I still like it.
Yeah, but you were just so excited by the week.
I was. And then my next one we just talked about was Dubliners. Oh, and we also just talked about Grim Tales, so...
Perfect.
There you have it. I feel very similarly, very high up.
Okay, I'll do 3. Oh my god, my next one is Jungle Book. And I just saw that your next one is Jungle Book. I think this one's super cute.
It's really cute.
Yeah, they're so cute. I like that they're all in different positions.
The yellow and black. It works well in, like, everyone it's used in.
Yeah, they're hanging off of each other. Even when it repeats, it's like, I think it's done in a way that still looks very natural. It does get pretty close to the words,
but I don't mind it as much.
Yeah.
Because it's so busy. Like, it's still a problem, but I can excuse it a bit more than on some others.
Next, I have Paradise Lost. And I really like this cover. Of course, that's the one that I have. Yeah. I like that I like that it's just the same hand, but it's like backwards and forwards.
Okay, maybe I'm a little stupid. I thought it was a hand and a skeleton hand.
Oh, no, I think it's just
No, it's definitely just backwards. Skeleton hands would look more bony.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a cool way to, like, keep that repetition, but then also kind of change it up. Yeah, I like the colors. It's way darker.
Do you want to bring it over?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's way darker in person than on my screen, which I like. I like the dark blue and the really rich
is it
red.
Dark blue? I guess it is. Cause I wasn't sure if it was just like a not super dark black, but I think it is dark blue.
Yeah. Did you do 3?
I did, because we had done 2 of them already.
Okay. Then my next one is The Travels of Marco Polo. Also another one that's like very busy,
yellow
very
and black
ostentatious. Too. Yeah, but I think it really works with this. I think it's a really beautiful illustration. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty high for me. I mean, all of these are, because I haven't got to them yet.
Right, yeah, and I think the yellow really pops in it, yeah.
Yeah. My next one, now that I just talked about Jungle Book.
Yay!
I just think the monkeys are really cute. I love yellow and black in almost all of the covers. I even like it in 1984. I just think it's done the worst there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also really like how the monkey's arms serve to, like, make these diagonals that break up the vertical pattern.
Yeah.
I think there's just a lot of smart things about it that helps me excuse how close it is to the title.
My next one is the Canterbury Tales. The horse one. I just love the horse. I think they're really nice drawings.
They really are, yeah.
Very intricate for how small they are, I think. But I really like that, yeah.
I think it's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I think it was just really small on my screen, and it's that same layout, but it's definitely a really nice drawing.
Yeah.
My next one I have is 4 Tragedies, which you had kind of significantly earlier.
Yeah.
But for one, I guess I won't say this. I'll tell you, but because you said you're going to cut out that I work. We make a lot of patterns. So seeing something like this, I can see like all the ways it could be used in other things. But I really like this pattern. I like how it kind of connects, and I like that it's non-representational, and like that. And I also really like a lot of these ones up higher for me have these like very thick and thin parts, and I think that just helps with the limitation of using 2 colors. It helps kind of create more value in that, which makes it seem like they have use of more colors, and I think that is a very successful strategy, which I think is found in a few more of my ones that are up higher.
Yeah.
On my next one, which we already talked about, I have The Outsider.
So Inferno, I really liked this cover.
They're just having a good time.
Yeah, I think it's so cute.
They're just dancing.
The devils and the people who are falling down. It's funny. Yeah, I would think that she will make the rest of the Divine Comedy.
You would, especially since on the Penguin website it's listed as
number 1,
the first. Yeah.
And then my next one is Jude the Obscure. Same reasons that you had. I really like this illustration. I think it works really nicely.
Yeah. My next one, which you had way earlier, is I have Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Great name. I just think the illustration is really strong. I think it's a really good illustration of a flower. I think the color is very striking. And I think they are able to create a lot of value, which is impressive based on the fact that they're only using 2 solid colors. They're not using the values from those colors.
Yeah.
And I like that you can see the Matryoshka doll in it without it being super overt. And even the flower petals, I think, are way more effective than some of the dots that they just randomly use.
You have the Ring of Nibelung next. Horse. I guess they're stars, maybe. It's kind of small, but I think they might be stars. In which case I like them a lot. It is a pretty intricate drawing for how small it is again.
Yeah.
I really like this one. I like the colors. I think the spacing works for like how they are. It does get really close to the words.
Yeah. That was my main thing holding it back, because it's really a great drawing.
Yeah.
My next one I have is Tales from 1001 Nights. I think what really helps this one is they don't have an author. So
yeah.
So they only had one space to make room for a name, and even though it is a little tight, I still think it works well. I love like the windows in it. I love the illustrations look great. The stars are placed with care, not just randomly. The architecture looks great. I like how busy it is. The colors look great together. It's just a really good one.
Yeah. That one's obviously is higher for me. So I love this one too. Yeah. I have the Lady Chatterley's Lover now. I love the colors. I like the dragon illustration. I think it's really cute. I really like this one. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Now I have The Travels by Marco Polo, or of Marco Polo?
Probably both.
Okay. Again, yellow and black, it just always works for me. I love how maximalist this is, even if it gets a bit close to the author's name.
Yeah.
And I love like the thick leaves compared to the thin lines on the flower. I think it looks really nice.
I have Pride and Prejudice. I think that this is just really beautiful.
Yeah, I have that one pretty high.
Yeah, the like swan and flower motif, and then the colors I think work really nicely. I really love this one.
Yeah. Now I have Don Quixote by Miguel Cervantes. I think, for one, the spacing around both the title and the author looks really intentional.
Yeah.
And there's a good amount of padding. It looks like there's stars or dots or something on this one, but in this one they're like so small that it's not very distracting.
Yeah.
And I actually really like the column of this one that it creates.
Yeah.
It's not super diagonal, which is really kind of finicky and hard to get right, which we've seen.
Yeah. So, I really like this one too.
It's very strong.
Ooh, my next one is 1001 Nights. Again, I think it looks great. I really love this one. I think the colors are beautiful. The stars are so cute. Great one. Great.
Classic banger. Now I have the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories.
I don't have that one on here.
Oh. Well, I have an extra one. I have the Penguin Book of Christmas Stories. This one also, I think, is aided by not having an author, and it also, I guess it does say something at the bottom. Oh, edition. Edited by. But that looks like it exists outside of the standard area for the illustration.
Yeah. And
this one's also the only one where they move the title to the center.
Yeah.
And I just think it looks really, like, it's very Christmassy. It's very Hallmark in a way.
Yeah.
I like the blue on the white. I like how the forest kind of thins toward the top to give like birds in the sky, and towards the bottom there's deer.
Yeah.
If I had like one critique, I might put like a border around the name, because that's what it's trying to give, that it's like a box on top.
Yeah.
And so I would just put a border, maybe even like a double line, like a thick and a thin, so it looks a bit more classy. I just think it's really nice. But I guess since you don't have this one, I'll do two, so we stay on the same track.
Right.
My next one is Moby Dick. I just really like it. I like the colors of it. I like that there's different stylizations for the whale. There's him going just the tail, and then there's the full whale.
Yeah. I
actually, even though it's probably not enough padding, I don't really mind, because I like how the whale tails caress the author's name. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How they...
Yeah,
like,
they, like, kind of hold it up.
Yeah, they frame it. I guess that's a better way to put it.
Then caress.
Then caress, yeah. I like how they frame the author's name. I like the harpoons in it. I just think it's really strong because it has so many different stylizations.
Yeah, I agree. I really like that one. I have the Little Prince now. Yeah, I think that this like, I agree that it's kind of busy and that it's got, like, a lot of different stuff going on. But the, like, I think that she's taking the illustration from the original cover and, like, putting that on here, like, in the pattern
that makes sense.
That she's doing. So it's just, it feels very, like, iconic and very true to the story for this. Yeah.
See, my thing is, I do like this one, but I was kind of trying to rank them design-wise in a way.
Yeah,
so that's why I kind of went lower. But I do like, I really like the colors, too.
Yeah, that's fair.
My next one I have up is Paradise Lost, which I really like. What was the other handbook with the rain?
Giovanni's Room? Yeah.
Yeah. That one, the thing when you draw hands is it's hard to cut them off because of your whole arm. But this one's really smart, and it uses a really interesting pattern with, like, scallops and... Yeah. I don't know the book like you do because you've read it, clearly.
Right.
To me, it was making me think of... I feel like I've heard Paradise Lost has something to do with fallen angels.
Yeah,
so this is, like, the hands reaching down from the heavens. And I could put that together without knowing literally anything about the book.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really cool. And really striking, too, the colors together.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I like this one. I have the Aeneid now. Oh, and then Moby Dick. So, yeah, the Aeneid, I like that they're fighting each other. I think we talked about it, though. So, yeah, I like it. It's cute. And Moby Dick, yeah, I think that's a great cover. I really like this one.
Yeah. The Aeneid, I think I had mentioned one of them. Oh, the horse one, I think. It was reminding me of, like, pottery. Yeah. The Aeneid very much does, too, and it makes sense. My next one, I guess I'll do two, because you just did two.
Yeah.
My next one, you just said Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen. Wow, good for her, with all of her duds.
I know, she had a lot
of misses.
She really suffered for this cover.
It's really beautiful. I love the swans and the leaves and the color. Like, there's not much, like, crazy to say on why it works, but it just is really nice.
It's just, it looks very classy.
Very classic.
Very classic, yeah.
And my next one I have is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which a bit higher than you had it, quite a bit, but I talked about it a little there. All the black and yellow covers I think work well. Yeah. And I like, even without looking at the jellyfish of it, just the kind of swirly and the pattern created by the yellow on it.
Next one is Don Quixote. Same reasons that you said. I think it looks so good. It just really comes together really very well. I like the thing that he's standing under as like a frame for the soldier. I just think it works. It really just comes together.
It's nice that we have a lot of the same tops, but I know, like, my very top, I think you've
said a lot of them. My very top is different than yours. Yeah.
My next one I have is the Phantom of the Opera, which you had a lot earlier. Yeah. We're probably going to see a lot of the geometric ones that you had a bit lower, but I just think this one's...
difference in taste.
Yeah, definitely. This one I just think is really cool. I like how it has, like, these really solid blocks of colors, and then the dots are being halftones to create gradients, and it's really interesting. And I really also like the blocks around the text. There could be a bit more space around them, but, like, the shapes that they create there, those negative space shapes, are really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
So I really think it's cool.
Yeah,
it's neat.
I like it. Oh, my next one is War and Peace, which you said a while ago.
I said a long time ago.
You said a while ago. I really like it. I think it's simple, but, and I agree with what you said earlier, but I just think that it, like, it's just, I like it.
Yeah, you don't need other reasons necessarily.
Yeah.
Because my next one, you also said way earlier.
Yeah.
I have The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I really like geometric patterns. I like how these kind of go together. Like the end of one will connect to like the other one. I didn't. It was weird because I don't necessarily love that the top and the bottom are like this, because the patterns are diamonds, and then this one has like another triangle sliced out to make more room. Yeah. But because it's mirrored on top, I can stomach it a bit more. Yeah. But I would have just made the pattern bigger, so it could have just been an empty diamond instead of having to cut off that bit extra. Yeah. But I really like it, and even though it's just black and white, I think because it's very simple, it's fine here. Yeah. 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 My next one is the Monkey King. I think this is beautiful. I really love the colors. The like wave pattern, I think it is so beautiful. Yeah, I think it really works. It's maybe a little bit wonky like that, but I diagonals. Really like it. Yeah. I think it comes together really nicely. Yeah, I see, because mine's very high too. I haven't got to it yet, but I really like how at the top the waterfalls kind of frame the Monkey King. Yeah. And at the bottom they try to as well, but because of the diagonals, like it frames it below it, but above it's a bit weird. Yeah. But even though it makes those diagonals, because there's so much going on in the middle, I don't even fully mind it. Yeah. And it's just, the colors are great. And the illustration's really nice too. Yeah. So mine will be above a bit more, but right now my next one is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, which it kind of surprised me liking this one so much because it is so simple. But I think the like kind of dusty pink with the navy blue is really cool. Yeah. Like even though the clouds are kind of dinky, something about it, it gives me like a little boy's bedroom sort of vibe. Yeah, it does. I didn't notice that one plane has a cropped off wing, which I'm sure is just a thing where like they accidentally put one layer behind when it should have been above, which kind of crazy that no one caught it, but regardless, to all of us. It does. But I really like it, and I like that the swoops in it kind of makes a nice rhythm. It's just nice to me. For me. Fair. I have the sonnet and the Lover's Complaints by Shakespeare. I love the colors on this one. They're really nice. It is a very like another just like flowers, where like at the end of the day it's just flowers, but I think that it looks really beautiful. It really does. Yeah. It's very classy and elegant. It looks so classy, so elegant. I think it really comes together very nicely here. I love this one. My next up is the Monkey King, which we just talked about. Yay. And then above that, I have David Copperfield, which you had a bit lower. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what this is. I thought it was like paper kites or something like that. Yeah. I thought the colors were really cool. I really liked how it kind of broke the norms of the previous layouts. Yeah. I just thought it was really neat. I thought the shapes are very interesting. The negative space is cool. I like the thin lines, even if maybe at times they're a bit messy. I just think it's neat. Yeah. My next one is The Hounds of Baskerville. You had this one a while ago, but it's still nice. I still like it. Yeah, I like the moths. I like that they're all kind of different, or there is a pattern, but it's kind of offset, so it doesn't repeat so much. Yeah. I think it works a lot better than the other one with the bees. For sure. Maybe just because they're tighter together and because there's more variation. And then I like the kind of like light brown, I think is with this like kind of cream on top, like off-white, I think is nice. Yeah. It's very nice. Yeah. My next one. Ooh. Other way. I have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, which you had quite a while ago. Yes. Alice in Wonderland, I've never read, but obviously I know the story. Yeah. Because it's a Disney movie now. It's pretty iconic. Yeah. I just like kind of the zaniness of it. I like how very broken up it is from the other patterns. Like, it clearly has a pattern and symmetry in it. I like how the peacocks, no. I like how the flamingos are upright by his name and then upside down by the title. Yeah. And, like, the reflection of the illustration. I think the ball is a nice supplementary illustration here. And I just think the pink on the white pops really nice. It might be a bit harsher in in real life, like you had said you'd seen before.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm judging it based off of the image online, and I think it looks nice.
Yeah. Very fair. My next one is Frankenstein. So you said this one a while ago, but we talked about it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I agree about the mirroring the heart. Like this one, like it looks weird.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, also my bias is coming through because I just really love this book.
Yeah.
So.
Next up, I have Treasure Island, which I wrote a while back.
Yeah.
It looked a bit different on the tier list as it does on the Penguin website.
It's a little more washed out here.
But I thought that was cool to me, because it looks crazy. Like, it kind of looks like a photo-negative burn or something.
Yeah.
But even without that, I think, like, the green on the red, it looks really cool. It's really well done because it doesn't give Christmas and it's green and red.
Yeah.
And I like the parrots and the palm fronds. I like how they kind of cascade, and this is my bird face.
Next ones are the Iliad. I know you had this one a while ago, and I agree with what you're saying about like this diagonal. I think that like if this was shifted a little bit more, so maybe the fires like overlapped a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that would maybe look better, but I still like the way that this one turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, this is my top tier now.
Okay.
My next one I have is the Odyssey, Homer. I think the waves just look really nice.
Yeah.
The pattern repeats, but not in a way that's very like monotonous. The line quality really serves to kind of create some nice variation in like tone. It's just really nice.
Yeah, that's my next one.
Okay, well there you have it.
I love that this also like it looks like a vase painting, and
Yeah,
it should look
very
like a
nice.
vase painting because it's the Odyssey. It's very true to the story, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have them right next to each other. The Iliad's fire, the Odyssey's water.
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, maybe that's why the Iliad is fire and not so much that, because like the Odyssey being water makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
The Iliad being fire makes less sense.
I can
but
get
I
it
can see it
because it's war.
Yeah, it's war. Yeah. Damn.
So true.
Got really heavy.
My next one you had forever ago. I have Sandition by Jane Austen. I think I really love these colors. The blue and the yellow, they're really nice to me. And I just really like, even though the pattern's repeating, I think, not to bring up the hot dog again, but how that kind of made like a nice vertical because of the drip. This one has the pole of the umbrella. Is that what you call it?
I guess.
The pole of the umbrella, which it helps to make like a zigzag vertically, even though it has like a horizontal rhythm as well.
Yeah.
And the seagulls, maybe a bit unnecessary, but I think if they weren't there, I'd probably feel like the negative space was weird. Yeah. But I like it.
Okay, yeah. Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
My next one is Dracula.
It looks better here.
Yeah, I think the gray is a little lighter here. Yeah, I just think it's a really beautiful drawing.
It is.
It's a really beautiful illustration. It is a little bit like harsh in the diagonals, but I think it's beautiful. Yeah.
My next one I have is Crime and Punishment, which you also had a while back. Yeah. And this one's very different colors. On Penguin's website, it's black and red, and the one on there, I think, is like tan and red, or tan and dark brown. I think it was, let's see. It's tan and red, and I thought the tan and red looked really beautiful together. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen this in real life, though. I feel like this is what it actually is.
Even if this is what it actually is, I still really do like the geometric pattern. I like the way it's broken up. I like how it creates space for the name and the author. The color was carrying it a lot when I did it on the tier maker, but I still didn't want to bring it down because I still do think it is a really nice illustration. But I will give that it definitely doesn't tell you anything about the book because it's just geometric pattern. Yeah.
All right, the next one is my top one. Is that true for you too, or did we?
No, I have two more.
Okay, do your second one now.
Wait, no, I have 3 more.
Oh my god, wait.
Okay, I don't know how how we're so off.
It's okay.
But next up I have Brideshed Revisited, which you had way earlier.
Yeah.
I really like how it's different from the other patterns. I like the thick and thin lines. I don't like how close it gets to the author's name. And it is a little repeaty. But I like how it kind of also creates like a sense of space, how they get smaller as they go further back. Yeah, which not a lot of them have. So it was really interesting to me. And then my second favorite, I have Les Miserables. My birds, very high up.
Your birds.
I think the red against this dark background is very striking.
Yeah.
I think the different birds, I like how, like, if you look at the diagonals, it's not the same bird.
Right.
Which happens in a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really like this one. And the lines make sense. They're the way it's cut off at the bottom and the top to make room for the author makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This is a beautiful one. Yeah. Very nice. All right, our top choices.
Very exciting.
Yeah, my top choice was the picture of Dorian Gray.
Wow.
Yeah, which I know is controversial.
Just because it was lower on mine doesn't mean.
But I really like this one. And that's kind of all I have to say.
That is valid.
Yeah.
My favorite is
Ooh.
Madame Bovary?
Yeah.
Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert.
Unfortunate name.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think the colors are really nice. I love the sort of wavy lines that come from the vines. The pomegranate stylization is great. Like, this one I placed very early on, and I still just, like, I kept thinking, like, I don't like anything more than this. So I just kind of stayed toward the top. I really love, like, the space, especially at the top for the title that's created. It kind of, like, the top of an hourglass. And even at the bottom, that leaf is a bit closer, but there's still plenty of room compared to some of them. But yeah, that one was my favorite.
Wow.
Very different lists.
Yeah, very different lists just kind of throughout. And then I think we aligned a bit in the middle.
I think our top choices were very similar. Like, not our top, but that was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
My Google Doc is 60 pages of photos and books.
Yeah. What did we
learn?
What did we learn? I learned about graphic design.
Period.
I guess not everything has to have a lesson.
No, I don't think this does.
It wasn't a learning experience.
Do most of your videos have lessons?
Yeah, we all come away a bit stronger.
Okay. Well,
closer and
closer together. Okay, well, I'll reflect.
Yeah, we meet God by the end. Yeah.
I learned what some books were about.
Yeah.
But not most of them.
No, yeah, that is kind of a theme, I think, is that they're not extremely... Some of them are not extremely clear about what the book is about.
Yeah.
But I also think that, like, because they're classics...
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to be.
Yeah, if you're going for, like, a collector's edition of one of these books, you probably know what it's about.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And I'm not a reader, so I'm not the target demographic.
Right. That's fair.
But I am Natalie's friend who does graphic design, so...
Yes.
That's my qualification.
So... Shut up. Yeah.
Seconded. Is that your outro?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was a long video, but...
Yeah. It was a lot of books.
It was a lot of books.
I'm sure you'll cut out so much.
Hopefully. Yeah, this video will be 20 minutes by the time I'm done with it. Yeah.
I'm not even going to be in it.
Yeah. I'll put the book over your face.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for being on the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'll put your socials in the bio in the description.
Great. If any of the Book Talk girls also want to see little drawings of Slowpoke,
yes,
I have a lot of those.
Yes, Jacob makes drawings of Slowpoke every single day.
For the rest of this year, so...
For the rest of his life.
I don't know how fast this video is going to come out, but maybe I'll be done.
Honestly. That's it.
Yeah.
Bye!